All right, now that the voting is done, the focus shifts to tallying the results to see who will lead the country's municipalities. Political parties and individual candidates are waiting with bated breath to know whether they won the hearts of the voters. Well, for detailed information on some of the results, we're joined by elections analyst Wayne Sussman. Wayne, thanks so much for being in studio with us. You've been tracking the numbers. You're much better at it than anybody else apart from Yan. You've got some small little results in for us, and then we're going to, of course, talk about Ekurhuleni.
100%. So right here on eNCA, the viewers are going to stay the course today because we're going to bring all the important results. So let's start with 3 municipalities. Let's go to the Eastern Cape, the Blue Crane Route municipality centred around Somerset East, the beautiful Boschberg Mountains. Nelson Mandela had a strong link to Jakes Gerwel. He comes from that beautiful part of the world. There, the ANC has retained an outright majority. They will continue to rule that council for the next 5 years, although they have lost a seat to the Economic Freedom, to the EFF. Then we move across to the Western Cape. We've now got the first municipality in the Western Cape. That's the Berg River municipality, which is around the Porterville, Piketberg area on the west coast. Beautiful mountainous area, known for its potato country. Nathaniel, the singer, comes from that part of the world. The DA has retained an outright majority, winning 8 out of 13 seats, but it and the ANC have lost a seat. This means that parties like the EFF, parties like the Patriotic Alliance, and parties like Good have won elections to the council. And then finally we go to Gauteng, where we're currently sitting, the first municipality to come in Gauteng, Lesedi, centred around Heidelberg, tobacco country, on the foothills of the Suikerbos Rand. The ANC have won 50% of the seats. Now this is important. This means that the ANC have to now find a coalition partner because they have 13 out of 26 seats. So I'll be honest, I think I know a lot of political parties across this whole country. I had never heard of, I'll make a confession here, the Socialist Economic Freedom Movement. The Socialist Economic Freedom Movement are a local party in Heidelberg, and the ANC will be knocking on their doors today to ask them to join a coalition and to help them to continue governing Lesedi for the next 5 years. And here we see the trend of regional parties, parties you and I may have never heard of, who are now making a say in the future destiny of these towns across the length and breadth of this country.
Well, independents, certainly so many more in this municipal election than we've ever seen before. And many of them saying they've come forward just to try and fix basic services in the area, absolute desperation. And of course, then there's also those who, while say they're trying to make a difference, they're power hungry and are looking to be those kingmakers in those hung municipalities. Let's talk about Ekurhuleni. What have you got for us?
Fascinating. So just a reminder of viewers, this is the Metro and the East Rand of Gauteng. The ANC got 49% here in 2016, came agonizingly close to an outright majority. They are falling well short of that 49% mark. Before election day, they would have wanted an outright majority to continue governing there. What happened in 2016 is they had to turn to one coalition partner. If the ANC wants to continue governing in Ekurhuleni, it's going to have to knock on multiple doors today because it's just falling way short of that 49% mark. It's currently looking at the 40% mark. What this means is, in the ANC's historic heartland of townships like Tsakani, townships like Duduza, they are falling short on what they achieved their last time, and they simply were not able to get the supporters out to vote. So even though it's a perilous position, they're still way ahead of the Democratic Alliance, who are currently second. So a lot's lost, but they still have a gateway, they still have a path to continuing ruling there.
Wayne, can we suppose or make suppositions about those losses? Is it dissatisfaction, apathy, people just not bothering to go and vote for the ANC at the polls? Or is it just other independents leading the way and taking over?
Well, it seems like in those historic heartlands, they've lost support, A, to the EFF, and B, they simply couldn't get their voters to the polls. So those former ANC voters didn't bother to vote for another party. They just sadly decided to stay at home tomorrow and not yesterday and not participate in the elections. So it's low turnout and some losses to the EFF.
Low turnout, dissatisfaction with service delivery. What could some of the other main reasons be for voters who were traditionally ANC just not bothering to go to the polls yesterday?
I think a broader thing was having the election on a Monday. I don't think any elections, I mean, there's a reason the IEC usually has its by-elections on a Wednesday. Only once in our history have we had a major election not on a Wednesday. That was on a Tuesday. Maybe a lot of people decide to go see friends and family. Maybe the fact that this election was rushed, the time scale, the time schedule was much shorter than usual. I think and general apathy, general dissatisfaction that service delivery isn't where it should be.
Just in terms of the Western Cape and Cape Town as a metro, we're likely to see the DA retain its power there. Have they lost ground, or are they likely to lose ground?
They have lost some ground. They'll still have an overwhelming win. They haven't lost ground to the ANC, and that will be a real concern to the ANC. Former DA voters who left the party yesterday voted for parties like Good, Patricia Little's Good. There's a local party in Cape Town called the Cape Coloured Congress, the Freedom Front, ACDP. Those are the parties which will pick up some support. The challenge for those other parties is that there are so many of them yapping at the DA's heels or trying to take some of that large DA pie, that they in a way cannibalize each other. So there's not one major challenger emerging in that regard.
It's almost like a Pac-Man visuals, and the DA in its campaign urging voters to please not fragment the vote. So clearly they had concern all along. Wayne Sussman, our elections analyst, you're going to go back up to the numbers room and keep tally for us. We hope to see you back. Thank you so much for your insight. We couldn't do it without you. The Election Monitoring Network says there weren't many disturbances at voting stations, which is good news, and we'll bring you more on that in a minute.